Next, we're going to talk about a computer's BIOS, which stands for Basic Input-Output System. So every computer has a BIOS. While the BIOS is technically software, it's a special kind of software called firmware, which is, I would say, firmly attached to the hardware because it's housed on a chip, and it looks just like that in almost all cases. The BIOS is the chip that stands between the operating system and all the other hardware on the computer. So neither the operating system nor any of the computer hardware can function without a healthy BIOS. You won't even get your operating system to boot up if things are wrong. On a standard computer, the BIOS is found on the motherboard, which, by the way, this is a kind of a zoomed in picture of a piece of a motherboard, but that gives you the idea. It's the very first bit of software to run when the computer is switched on. It's what we call posting. A common way to enter BIOS setup is to press a specific key or a combination of keys during the startup process before the Windows logo appears, or whatever operating system you're running. The key or keys may differ depending on your computer or BIOS manufacturer, but some of the most common keys to access the BIOS are F1, F2, F10, F12, delete, or escape. For example, we're going to use Lenovo laptops in this class, and the way that you access the BIOS with those is to hit F2 repeatedly. So in the BIOS, when you get into the interface itself, is where you can look up and set up various hardware configurations, including CPU settings, RAM settings, and settings for third-party hardware like video cards or expansion cards. And this is an example of a very common BIOS interface. You've probably seen this before, many of you, but if you haven't, this is sort of the nerve center, I guess, of the computer. You have a lot of control here. Definitely don't recommend changing any of these settings unless you know what you're doing. But on to the next section.